Ryan Michalesko, staff photographer Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, fires off a pass during the first half of the NFC divisional playoff game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams on Saturday, Jan. 12, 2019 at Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles. Ryan Michalesko, the Dallas Morning News, SportsDay's Tim Cowlishaw along with co-host Steve Dennis on the Dennis and Cowlishaw show on ESPN Dallas 103.3 KESN-FM, spoke about the Cowboys offseason recently. Here are some of the highlights on the Cowboys not using this offseason to put talent around Dak Prescott. Cowlishaw: when you can put together winning team with a young quarterback and make a title run, that is a great idea. And it is an idea that I'm sure somebody at the Star is aware of, and they have decided for several years to take an overly cautious approach to this. What I'm really saying here is Seattle 6 years ago won a playoff game in Russell Wilson's first year. In fact, they beat another rookie quarterback in RG3, Robert Griffin III, in Washington, and then they lost the next week. But that offseason, they traded their first-round pick, they went out and got Michael Bennett, they got Cliff Averill, they tried to load up because they had a good team, and it's like, here, we've got a quarterback, we're paying nothing and he's good. That frees us up in a salary cap world to put great talent around him. They won the Super Bowl the next year and they got to another Super Bowl. The Cowboys' free agency approach ever since going 13-3 has been, we're already good, let's be careful here. Let's not overspend, let's get even younger, and let's take this like a real slow step-by-step approach. Now here we are in year 4. This is Dak Prescott's last year to be an inexpensive quarterback, because next year he'll be up in the $20 million somewhere, and they still decide not to be any kind of real players in free agency, whether that means Earl Thomas or something else. And I think it should frustrate fans that they don't have this idea that you don't need to win around a good young quarterback. You can take your time and do it slowly and build a young roster and see where that takes you. When other teams, Baker Mayfield now the latest example with the Browns, they're doing it the way that worked for Seattle and it almost worked for the Rams. Dennis: most teams that are going to build around a young, superlative quarterback have to do it the opposite way. Where the team is horrible in Arizona with Josh Rosen, Buffalo with Josh Allen, and then you try to build around him as he grows. Troy Aikman in 1989 with the Cowboys. But what happens is that quarterback gets beat to death, maybe loses confidence, maybe never gets on a growth pattern that you were hoping he would because he's a tough sob and ridiculously talented, could have quit his rookie year. So when you hit on that young quarterback like Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, etc., you are in excellent position. See, this is what's doubly more frustrating, and then I'm going to flip it on you in a minute, doubly more frustrating about the Cowboys and how they've mismanaged this. And you hear all their fans, who are on their side in their conservative approach, they bring up the Dak Prescott contract, they bring up the Amari Cooper contract. If they are thinking correctly, they don't even mess with either one of those, because they don't have to. That's not even in the equation, and neither is Ezekiel Elliott for that matter. The only contract in the equation necessarily is DeMarcus Lawrence, and you give him $110 million and you have plenty of money to improve your team for the next year, and then you've got to worry about Doc, etc. What Stephen Jones is doing is he's budgeting long-term. That is what Michael Irvin brought up last week. He's budgeting long-term to make this a good team for a very long time, which I think goes against what the NFL is about these days. It's more about, oh man, boom, seize this opportunity. Click here to listen to the full interview.